Paul Flynn prepares to take this one. It's about 40 metres out, keeping the concentration. He's hitting it in to the Killeen end. He's taking his time about this one. The referee says take it out. Bit of gamesmanship there between the referee there. Onto Paul, as Paul takes the concentration onto that ball, takes the ball, loads to go! He's done it again! He's rocked it in a vital score, and who better to do it? Everyone thought it, the players thought it, the top goalie and the fence thought it, but Paul Flynn didn't. Rocks the back of the net, Waterford go in front, 3-12 to 1-17. Stephen, you didn't even expect that one.
No, I didn't know, and I know Paul quite well. That was an absolutely fantastic strike.
Welcome back to Lorna Páirce, Hurling in the Ears here on WLR, with thanks to PwC Waterford. Well, delighted to be joined the line now by man of the match in the 2004 Munster final, Paul Flynn. And Paul, when you think back on it now, was that the best game of hurling you've ever played in?
Hey, Tomas. Yeah, I suppose it was. There's no doubt about it. I was only talking to someone last week about it, and I'm actually looking forward to watching it. I've never watched it back, so my memory of it is quite kind of blinkered. But like everyone seems to put it up there in their top 3 or 4 matches they've been to or watched. So it was definitely one for the memory bank.
And like as you mentioned there, Paul, like hurling fans across the country still rave about that Waterford-Cork rivalry during the noughties. What do you think it was about those games that made them so memorable?
I suppose both teams played open hurling. Both teams had people you could recognise. They had characters. There was a couple of good, personal duels that was an ongoing thing. Cork were quite outspoken at the time with their strikes and stuff, and the GPA was starting to gain momentum, and there was a couple of their players involved in that, and it kind of had become a protest GPA at the time rather than a kind of a progressive thing. But we were kind of like always kind of that little bit behind Cork, I suppose, in their eyes, and that they felt that if they played well, they'd beat us, and that kind of played into our hands a bit. I think where Cork just kind of thought they'd outplay us at times, and sometimes they didn't. So I think it was good for everybody. It was good for the players to be involved in them. It was good to watch, and it was good for the neutrals. So I think everyone kind of enjoyed them in some fashion.
And you talk about the personal duels there, Paul. Like you were marked by Sean O'Halpine and Dermot O'Sullivan at different stages in that final. What were they like to play against?
Yeah, I put it on record a good few times that I was very surprised Sean Og. I was wing forward that day, and Dan was on the other side, and I would have thought Dan was the bigger threat in the air for sure. And when I saw Sean O coming over to my side, I said, "Geez, this is a bit unusual." And so it proved, because after the start that Cork got on us, it was really Dan in the air that brought us back into the game in the first quarter, I suppose, and he cleaned out Gardner. So I think from that point of view, it was a big mistake from Cork's point of view to put Sean Og at number 5 and Gardner at 7. I suppose inside him through the years, Wayne Sherlock, further Ryan, Brian Murphy just come on the scene, and I suppose Dermot O'Sullivan at full back, and they were very good players, obviously, and very sporting guys, good hurlers. They could be rough when they needed to be, and they were fair when they needed to be. And in general, you knew that it was a tough game ahead of you, and there wasn't going to be any real underhanded stuff going on. Everything was kind of fair and hard on the ball, and they wouldn't give an inch or ask for an inch. So that was kind of what it was. And our style of play at times was trying to open up the defence with movement and maybe an offload. And some days it went well, and other days it didn't. And some days they came out on top, and other days we looked well. But in general, I think it was a very fair contest.
Absolutely. And going into the second half, Paul, 3 minutes in, Sean McMahon shows John Millan the red card. How concerned were you at that stage?
I remember hearing the crack. I didn't see it. I think myself and Dan were in around there, if I'm not mistaken. It was. I don't know how severe the crack was, so I'd probably been a bit unfair on Brian Murphy over the years, maybe saying he went down a bit easy. So I don't know how severe the crack was, but striking is a straight red card. For some reason, twice that day we had we've been tested very severely in the first 2 minutes when the goal went in, and everyone remained calm. And I think for some reason when that happened as well, there was a calmness. I don't know what, it's hard to explain or talk about, but there was no, oh shit, the match is over, or everyone just kind of knuckled down a bit. And we've seen it before: 10 men beating 11 in soccer, 14 beating 15 in GA, and it's not an uncommon thing to see. So it can be done. We proved it could be done. So I think we played a bit smarter. I think Cork definitely had more possession, from what I remember, and they did shoot some bad wides. Ronan Curran shot one, Diarmuid Sullivan definitely shot one or two, and Niall McCarthy I think was guilty of one or two. So everything kind of goes for the 14 men as such, and I think the referees and the crowd and the neutral, everyone nearly goes for the 14, no matter how bad of the offence is for the sending off. So I do remember Seanie McMahon giving us one or two decisions that kind of, he may not have done it just 15 aside, but right down to the last minute where Kieran Murphy hand passed the ball to, I think it was Ben O'Connor running in, and I think it was Declan Prendergast got a touch on it, and so it was right up to the very end that game was in balance, and obviously Ken's great catch at the end was a talking point and kind of the sealing of the game. So it was an occasion where it had everything. It had the goals, it had the sending offs. Even it's hard to say it had the right character sent off to make the memory of the game even live longer. So it was definitely something in the air that day for Waterford.
And Paul, I'm sure I've been asked so many times over the years about the dipper in the second half, like 20 minutes left, Waterford 2 points down. What was going through your head as you put that ball down on the ground?
There was, I think I was moved back a bit anyway, and there was a very strong sun that day, and it was kind of, when you're shooting into that end of Thurles, the wiring behind the goal has several poles close enough to the uprights, and at times it can be hard to distinguish what's what or who, so generally I try to pick someone in the crowd, and there was a big Waterford support there that day on the Killinan end, and there was an American, some Cork lad obviously got in there was an American flag directly in the middle of the goal, and that was my focus point. And then my attitude, I suppose, at the time was, just 14 men, 20 minutes to go, 2 points down. Cork are slowly starting to get on top of us here. Another point or two gets to 4. 4 is a tough one for 14 men. If we can keep getting belief, I think Owen Kelly got a great score. I'm not sure if it's before or after that, but it was kind of a shot to nothing, and unfortunately it came out well for us. And to be fair, I think it did keep us ticking over. It got us to maybe 10 minutes to go and still a point in front. So we were going to need a goal at some stage to kind of hold that, to rally against Cork, but we didn't know it was going to come in that kind of fashion.
Yeah, was that type of shot, Paul, something you would have practiced in training often over the years?
It happened a few times. It did happen a few times, and it didn't happen other times. It can be quite risky at times. You could hit it with the top of the hurley and look very foolish, and which I've often done. So I used to practice a bit, but at times you don't know when it's going to be needed or stuff. But generally, there's probably more central that you'd like to kind of practice that, because you'd have more to go to aim at, obviously. But I do remember again saying to me one day that it would come off somewhere important, and it did, thank God.
Yeah, it certainly did. And was it just pure bedlam, Paul, when the full-time whistle went?
Yeah, but I think, I've heard a lot of people write about it over the years, saying they were in the ground that day and they had to go onto the pitch to pull a bit of grass and bring it home, or have some kind of memento from the day. And when the whistle went, obviously your first thought was to shake the hand of your opponent and commiserate with him, and then kind of whoever was around you, then you had no choice really but jump on or be jumped on. So it was, I think it was, when you see the joy in the Waterford people's face, when you're on the pitch and you see people in the stands. I met Big David Welsh, God be good to him, who I used to meet on the pitch after every match down the years, and there was tears in his eyes. And, we were thinking of past friends, of friends that I've passed, and what they do to be here today, and people who give the heart and soul for the cause of Waterford over the years. In some fashion, it's a bit of a reward to them, and even our parents in the stands and families in the stands. They would get a kick out of obviously seeing the hard work and the time we spent training come back in some small fashion. And it gives each player, and I'm sure management and selectors and everyone, the will to go on and make it worthwhile, because it can be a very lonely place, after a defeat, Thurles. So it's way nicer after a victory, I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's nice to mention David Welch there, Paul. I know he was a big fan of yours over the years, and you mentioned people getting mementos of the Munster final. Have you any souvenirs still lying around the house?
I have. Funny enough, I have a very good friend from Cork, and he saw a picture in the Examiner, I think it was 2 days after, at the scoreboard, and having a cup of tea, and he said, look at the sad faces of all the Cork fellas. So I got onto the Examiner and I got the picture of the scoreboard, and it reads, I can see it here now, it reads whatever it is, 121 to 316, and it's kind of a decent sized photo, and all the Cork lads, all the young Cork supporters who used to gather at the town end in Thurles on the scoreboard with all their flags and flares. They're all sad looking and crying and stuff, so it's a great photo, and it's here in the kitchen. So that's about it. I don't know if I have the jersey, but I have the Hurley still. That's about it. The picture and the Hurley.
Very good. And just a final question for you, Paul. Even though that Waterford team didn't go on to win the All Ireland, the fact that the team will be remembered for the style of play over the years, and the wonderful games that you're involved in, does that still give you a degree of satisfaction looking back?
When you think of the players we had, players I would have lucky enough to play with, I won't name them all now, but they're all fabulous people, fabulous players, and for some reason or other we just didn't get there. It's nice to be fondly that team to be kind of fondly remembered, I suppose, and to be every neutral second team type of scenario, but there is still a good bond between everyone that was involved, and it's only a pity that we don't have a 25th or something anniversary to mark an All Ireland win or something coming. But that's it. We tried our best. We played good teams. We played against good players. We were well organised. There were kids, super outfits as well. Both teams went on. Cork went on to only do 3 in a row. Then Kilkenny came and did 3 in a row. Went on to do obviously 4 and 5, 4. But we weren't playing against bad teams, and we would definitely either of them on the day. But for some reason, we couldn't do both in one season.
Well, Paul, great to get your memories of 2004 Munster final. Thanks a million for taking our call today.
No problem, Paul. Best wishes.
Well, the last time a referee told a player to take it back from a free, you remember in the Limerick match, it dropped into the goal. Will Limerick ever forget? Flynn goes for a goal. He's got one. My goodness me! Only Paul Flynn could think of it. 16 minutes into the second half. Amazingly, Cork were expecting him to just lob it over. There's where it finished. Top right-hand corner of the net as we look at it. And Waterford have taken over here 3-12 to 1-17.
Now you're hurling. Lorna Porca with Tomás McCarthy on WLR.
Thanks to PwC Waterford.